tell my friends stand by me only if I'm right. I come out in triple darkness just to see the light. If I say it once, I guarantee I say it twice. If they want me, I ain't going out without a fight. In my dreams, I'm a killer, but for God, man. Try to play it cool, but it's getting hard, man. Rolling with the real and death to all the frauds, man. Not too many of me, yeah, it's kinda hard, man. In my room, sitting in my room. Know they waiting on me and I'm coming soon. Never been a sellout, never been a coon. Y'all be on the camera acting, I'ma show them how I true it.
Here's why you don't need to be speaking ill like that about money around your children. Because it will make children go out and start to do stuff they feel like they got to do to take care of family.
Welcome to the B2M Crew podcast. We're 5 brothers who have been lifelong friends over 40 years coming together to discuss the rearing of our 12 sons out of 13 children, our experience with over 100 years being married collectively, and just giving you all some front row seats into some brotherhood conversations we've been having over the time of this most powerful friendship. We're broadcasting here from Wynn Productions in Fayetteville, Georgia. Brand new media production facility and studio led by owner CEO Tariq Wynn and business partner Talik Wynn over here, Chili T. I'm joined. I'm the Wavo Black. To my right is John J.G. Yates.
What up, dog?
I just mentioned with the winter bucket hat on over there, my man Chill T down here in the Atlanta metro area. Waki, who we call the world's ambassador, and J Moo, brother James Muhammad over there, representing the fruit, the FOI. Today we got an interesting topic. First of all, how's everybody doing today, man?
Super
Excellent.
good, bro.
Everybody good?
Blessed.
We good.
Well,
I'm enjoying Georgia, man. You know, for sure.
It's always nice to get back down here.
It is,
We had
it
so
is.
many fond memories.
But
from
how
when
did we
were-
time coming
we were
down
young.
here 2 weeks after Rick Ross's car show that I kept seeing all over social media? I would have brought my hoopty down there.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
put it on the schedule for next year.
I will. It was a little too wild out there for me. I think I may need to go to like somebody a little older's car show or something.
What, you
But
too-
like I
you
said,
too
I don't
good
have
for
one
the
of
Rick
those.
Ross show?
Say it again.
You too good for Rick Ross show?
No, I'm not too good for it. I don't have the cars they had.
Oh,
They
okay.
were bringing those cars in on. I can't even
Trailer.
afford the trailer they were bringing the cars in. You know, but no, it looked like it was a dope experience though out there.
Yeah. How far is that from here?
Like 15 minutes, maybe?
Yeah, I heard it was a lot of controversy with the city and all of that because of the traffic
At first.
and all
how
that.
did it work?
Yeah.
Did it work out though?
Super
It
dope.
did. Yeah, the
man.
city
Can you buy
even
any
said
meat from the
Yeah,
It worked
that
out
he
well.
handled, he managed it and hired enough people.
even the law enforcement gave him
Yeah,
kudos
yeah,
on it.
yeah.
You know, just being able to bring the law enforcement, the blue brothers in blue community together. So
Yeah,
he did
yeah.
an excellent job of executing that.
So speaking on me talking about, I actually just engaged in what we're gonna be talking about.
The poverty mindset.
The poverty mindset. Because I said I can't even afford the trailer. Right, but that's a good segue to our topic today, which is poverty mindset and what do we do or what did we do to avoid that with our children? What people can do to avoid the poverty mindset? And I'm gonna ask Joaquin to do this. What's your best definition of poverty mindset? Because I know you probably read a book about it.
I think. Get rid of that. I think it's very simple. It comes down to: do you have a mindset of scarcity, or do you have a mindset of abundance?
Mm-hmm.
And do you see the world in abundance, or do you see the world in scarcity? Scarcity being your gain is my loss. My gain is your loss. Abundance, it's enough for me and for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the world? And I truly believe that when you encounter people who are racist, it's because at the core of their fundamental beliefs, they have a scarcity mindset. And they have a mindset that it's a limited number of resources. I got to get mine, and we got to make sure them people don't take ours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's really at the core of their fundamental beliefs. And so I've always, it's like if you have a birthday party for your kids, right? And more people show up than you anticipate, all right? And we got a cake. and we got a cake, and we got to cut this cake for all these people here. Scarcity mindset says, give everybody a thinner slice. Mindset of abundance say, let's bake another cake. Let's go get another cake. And so which one do we choose to live our life by? You know, I remember one time I had a client, he was like, man, I don't know if I can do such, or if I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do that. He was like, man, what I'm gonna do? And I looked dead at him, I said, make more money. Make more money. Don't act like that's not an option. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's an option.
Right.
You have an option to go out here and make more money.
Right.
You know, so I think at the fundamental ground level, do you see the world in scarcity or abundance?
What do you think, or how do you think that starts though? Because when we talk about how we see the world, we already growing up, raised, and we looking at it a certain way. How does that show up? How does that show up though? Like in how we grew up, for example, like what things happen that are indicators of a poverty mindset?
Them your school shoes, them your church shoes, them your play shoes. You ain't got but 3 pair of shoes. All right? We ain't gonna be no more shoes.
And some was one shoes was all 3 occasions.
you know, that's
because,
a part of
in that case you're saying because
resources are limited.
I'm not gonna be able to get you any more shoes, so you gotta wear these shoes till the soles go off.
And we
make them last.
And we pass that down. And we instill that in our kids. Language is powerful when it comes to mindset, abundance or scarcity. Because, you know, we done heard all the terms. Money don't grow on trees. You know what I mean? We heard terms like that. You know, and it's people say, yeah, it do, because it's paper, right? Well, and I would say, yeah, you're right, it don't grow on trees. They print it. And they print as much as you want. You know, you just got to figure out how to get you some of it. So that is, it's the language we use to our kids. You know what I mean? Shut the door. You letting all the air out. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Stuff like that, man.
Nah,
you know,
bro, you letting that money out the door.
Right. That's right. Exactly. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You letting all the air out, money.
But when you
don't pay no bills around here.
I mean, are we saying that there aren't poor people? I'm just for the sake of how we determine it. But my point is, there are people with limited resources, right? So what are we saying? All of us
have limits on our resources.
All right, but this is what I mean, though. If someone doesn't have enough resources to pay a big electric bill every month, if it goes outside of their budget or this random thing, what's wrong with them saying, hey, shut the door, that's wasting electricity?
That you know what? Because I didn't want to pass that message on, I wouldn't say it, I would just shut the door.
Right.
Correct. I would just shut the door.
You don't want that idea.
And I'm not going to turn it into racism. I may say, shut the door, don't let bugs in the house. All right? Don't let bugs in the house, because I don't want to have to deal with bugs. You know what I mean? Like just something simple like that. I don't want to convey a message of poverty. I don't want to convey a message of lack or scarcity. I don't want to convey that message at all to my sons. You know, I want them to understand, like, yo, you can go out here and make it happen. You can go out here and get it. You don't have to, be, penny pinching. And there's a difference between being irresponsible and being, responsible. You know, that we're not talking about, just being irresponsible, blowing money on foolishness like we see a lot of people do. You know, there's a level of responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's for sure. Talik, when you think about poverty mindset, right? What ways have you seen, in addition to these, all 3 of these your shoes for all 3 occasions? Have you seen evidence of it? What are your thoughts about it? Like as you see people moving around, the language that they talking about money, because you're a go-getter, right? I'm sure you hear or have heard someone communicating something that lets you know, hey, they're not ready to hustle. They're not ready to.
I think, and we talking in general, right?
Yeah.
I just think that most people overthinkers, right? Or not most people. There are some overthinkers, and they think so much, right? And sometimes the fear of rambling in our mind they think they're gonna be without, in certain situations. I hear a lot of stuff that goes on, but the bottom line is it's more than enough. It's more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Bible talks about I like to say the two-piece fish dinner, right? 2 fish and a barload of bread, and there was thousands of people, and not only was able to feed everybody there, but also it said that they were able to take some with them. So that's called more than enough and overflow. And so
that's allegorical, of course.
Thank you.
I don't know about that,
James
but I just know.
Gotta say, make sure that the people know that you can't mathematically feed.
Hey, well, and also it said, "My thoughts are not your thoughts."
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
James.
So we can go toe to toe, but your thoughts are limited to mine.
Fired.
And if you're talking about the supreme being,
Uh-oh.
you don't limit him, do you?
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay.
A question, bro.
Right. and if that's the case, look at how we all multiplied from 2.
But I was just
About 3 to
simply
nothing right now.
pointing out the fact that the point of that example you used from the
See,
scriptures
poverty mindset.
allegorical. That's all. Allegorical.
Hey, that's my brother. I love him.
Hey, what's the quote in the Bible say? Is well, I don't have it about if God take care of the birds and the trees.
You take care. No, that's what.
No, I know you know it. Finish it up, bro.
Man, you got me on that one. I don't know, like.
That might be from the Quran.
Well, anyway, he's gonna take care of us.
Yeah.
He take care of them. Right.
He talks about taking care of the fowls of the earth, and
yeah.
And basically we have dominion over them, and he gonna take care of us.
Let me ask y'all this.
No, what the Bible does say in Genesis is multiply,
be fruitful,
replenish the earth.
So let me ask you this.
So if you get up, the whole thing, bro, James, is the coin is in the fish's mouth. Go get it.
So when we talk about poverty mentality and mindset, is it strictly, are we conveying economics only?
No, I think because that's one of the things. There was this terminology going on probably like in the late 90s, 2000, where people start talking about impoverished ideas. Right?
Or ideals? Or
ideas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
ideals, same thing. But what I was going to say to spin on it, because we all know that if you live in a low income environment, that there's a lot of bad messaging about money.
Right.
Sure.
Right. And we've identified that, right? But beyond that, I think when we talked about mindset, Joaquin said, talking about that abundance and scarcity, that's the conversation, man. That's where the rubber meets the road, because that's how society shapes the ambition of oppressed people, by making us think there is a lack of abundance, by making us think there's a scarcity of resources. So we limit our own aspirations based on what we think is our ability to obtain those things. And to me, that's the biggest hindrance is that we got a lot of black, brown, and poor white children walking around not knowing that they can achieve it all if they just believe and go work a plan. It's not just for other people. It's not just for those rich people or those people with money. Just like for us, I mentioned earlier, we used to be on the school bus. I'm going to Greer, and we riding back past houses. We all grew up in apartments, and I'd be like, man, they must be rich. You understand what I'm saying? Like, man, they must be rich. They got a house, right? And so then you grow up and you like, man, them house was $22,000. Or I'm just saying, like, you just now I live in a house. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
And somebody driving past your house. Them people rich.
Like,
that was me.
They got a swimming pool.
But you know what I'm saying, though? It's like you didn't even know that those people weren't rich back then. They were just in a different financial bracket than perhaps your parents were, or really maybe even not, because of laws and credit access and things like that. Money was more available to them because of policies and practices to get a home loan.
Yeah, that's a different
Yeah.
conversation.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
whole-
yeah.
You did a real good job on the definition of poverty, by the way,
Well, thank you.
because it does in one of the definitions it has scarcity
Okay.
or dearth,
Okay.
synonymous with that. But that first one is the state of one who lacks a usual or socially acceptable amount of money or material possessions. Speaking to what you said, not necessarily always monetary, but Nuevo brought up the fact of society and social, so it speaks to all of that. But then just having that state of mind again goes back to what we mentioned on historically with our experience here. It goes, it can be as far reaching as that. But I just, as far as personally, don't recall ever having an impoverished mindset.
mhm.
And then even with, I think the example of somebody, was it this episode or another, where it was like you didn't realize, somebody said, oh, we didn't know we were poor or
Yeah,
something like
last
that.
episode when I
Oh,
was
okay.
using that example
Right.
for court.
And so that then speaks kind of to it not so much being a monetary piece, and just because you enjoyed a certain whether it was you placed value in the time you had with your family. You placed value in just the simple things that made you not realize that you may have been, in social standards, in poverty, so to speak.
Have you ever seen that Bob Marley video when they asked Bob Marley? The guy was like, "How do you like being rich?" And they asked Bob Marley
So
that.
what is it?
He said, "What is rich?
What is rich? Yeah.
What is rich? Rich is not the money. Rich is my relationships, my love.
Health.
You know what I'm saying?
Health.
Like
Right. That's
redefining
rich.
what that means. You know
Right.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Right.
So,
What poverty? Yeah.
So I was agreeing with what he was saying earlier, but this is the question of balance, right? So it's that old saying too. I'm gonna mess it up. I'm not the quote dude, but one man complained that he had no shoes until he saw the man that had no feet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
And so at what point, if you get, we grew up this way. We had the church shoes, got the new shoes for school, right?
And the old
Maybe
schools
got
were
some for
play
Christmas.
shoes.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe got some for Christmas, birthday. It wasn't a guarantee. So having an attitude
You
of
forgot
gratitude.
one.
What's that?
tax check.
Oh. Man, I ain't know nothing about no tax check, bro.
Bro,
I won't even get blessed like
Easter
that.
clothes or spring clothes?
I did get an Easter outfit.
Well,
That was the
that
tax
came from the
check.
tax
Okay.
check.
From the text. They didn't tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what is that balance between appreciating what you have and taking care of what you have, but yet still want more? Because I think sometimes if a person like despises not only having 3 shoes versus like, you know what? We used to go take our toothbrush and clean them shoes up, set them to the side, right?
Right.
Versus appreciate what I got. However, I know I can get more and want more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you still want to do that within certain guidelines.
And that's what I think is important in instilling in our children, and to do that, to make sure there is a balance of not being so much so to where you shun and act as if material possessions or better things is something wrong with that, because from what you do and basically the fruits of your labor, you deserve to have certain things. I think we spoke on that on another episode as well. But yes, go ahead.
I was thinking about one day I was when my children were young, we were on a spring break vacation, and we went up to I think we went to New York, then stopped in Philly. You do a couple of days in each city, just
Yeah.
hanging out. And we ended up in Baltimore at the harbor, right? And they were probably like 11, 9, or 6, maybe even younger. Yeah, I think it was like 11, 9, because they, whatever age it was, they can all remember that this happened.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, the little joints we used to ride in the park where you just rock back and forth.
Yeah, just
They
going
used
back
to have
on a
them at
little
the park.
spring.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
get
little
on
joint on the spring, right.
Well, now then it got to the point where they got they're machines now taking quarters, like at the harbor, right? And this little boy walked up. He walked to his mom. The brightness of a little child. Mom, can I ride the duck? do it look like I got ride the duck money?
Yeah.
And man, I was just so hurt, man, because his dream of just riding a duck. Bro, the duck was
Shattered.
a quarter of 50 cents or something, right? Now, listen,
Right.
mind you, I'm not tripping if she didn't have it, right? But mind you, she did have some other stuff in her hands and food and stuff that she could have gave up the 50 cents to ride the duck. Right. And so I just looked at my kid. I was just like, so there's a running joke in my family right now when somebody asks for something, do it look like I got ride the duck money?
Right, yeah.
Now y'all know that it wasn't about the duck, but you have heard that do it look like I got blank money?
Yeah,
That is part of the poverty
Mindset.
mindset STEM lingo, right? The sentence
yeah.
starter, right? Do it look like I got such and such? And so, and the
you dare
kid,
say,
what got me was,
look like
what got me was, when I'm talking about, man, when a little kid is outside and excited and asks you something like that, he just knew he was about to get on that duck.
Yeah.
And his dreams being crushed. And then I was like,
Why don't you give him the duck
listen
money?
to me, bro.
Nah,
I'm about to tell you why. I'm about to tell you why. Because I didn't want to get cussed out.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was what's going to happen too.
You don't take
That's
money
the
from no
other
strangers.
poverty. That's the other B side of that is you looking at it like I'm saying you poor,
Right.
but you acting like you poor
Right.
for helping you, so you want to cuss me out to feel good.
Yeah.
She had a look on her face. As soon as she saw my face, the look on we spoke. And her face said, "You better not say
You
shit."
better not. Yeah, you better not. You better not give it to him.
And they listen, man. I'm not about to fight no sister, because that's what would. I mean, they
Nah,
Baltimore
that's
different. But anyway, so my point about that is I want to just talk about that language, as you said, Joaquin, because it really is about the message. Because you can be poor, you can be without resources. We didn't say poor wasn't a thing. We talking about poverty mindset. So you can be poor and somebody say to you, "We don't have that right now, but we'll work to getting that." Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right.
One of the things that I heard my guy Ed Milet say is he talked about when he used to ride around with his wife looking at houses in fancy neighborhoods. And said one of these days we're gonna have one of those. I remember.
exposure.
Yeah, one of these days we're gonna be able to stay at the Ritz-Carlton. You know, one of these days we're gonna be able to stay at the Four Seasons Hotel. One of these days we're gonna be able to drive a Mercedes and put it in valet parking. And he said one thing that they would do, and I've done this as well. I know you've done it as well. It's what we did. We wanted to stay at the Four Seasons. You ain't got to stay there for a week. Just stay there one night.
Right.
You know what it's like to pull up to the Four Seasons and have someone take your bag and take you inside. The first time you do it, you might be uncomfortable, and because you're not gonna know the flow.
Sure.
But as you do it more and more and more, you get a taste of it. And what happens is, once you taste these things, your mind starts to work on ways to produce the income to have it all the time.
Right.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Once you get a taste of a cruise, your mind gonna work on ways to get back on that boat. Once you get a taste of the Caribbean, your mind will work on a way to get back there. Your mind will work on a way to get to Paris. Your mind will
talk
work
about
on
the law of attraction.
Yeah, exactly. Because we create this aura around us. And now we gotta navigate that money that they printing, that grew on trees that they printing.
Yeah.
We gotta figure out how to make it come to us so we can do the things that we want to.
And then it'd
So-
be contagious.
Yeah, and so what Ed was talking about was just taste the things that you have. So it's like act as if you're already that person. Because you need to know what it feel like. You need to know the requirements to have that type of life. You need to know. So it was always important for me. Every year we went on vacation. I don't care if I didn't have no money. We was going on vacation because I wanted to come. Yeah, somewhere. You know, I wanted to convey the message that this is important. This family time is important. We're going to do this, you know. And I wanted them to have those experiences of life, and I wanted them to get a taste of all of that, so they would want the same thing, you know, as they got older.
And therein lies what you just mentioned. Talked about a poverty mindset, right? And when we use a three shoe analogy, some people get their money and spend it immediately. They don't want 4, 5, 6, 7 pair of shoes, right?
Yeah.
Other people save on and hoard it, right? And don't spend it at all. Both of those are still poverty mentalities, right? But showing up, manifesting itself in different ways, right?
Very true.
So what you've made a conscious decision to, and again, we talking about a poverty mindset, financial versus experiencing, living life, having an attitude of gratitude and being thankful. So you chose to spend your money on experiences.
Absolutely.
Through the vacations. Right?
Absolutely.
Which is going to enrich us in other areas of our lives.
Absolutely.
You feel me? Beyond that 30 pair of sneakers and never leaving this 5-mile radius can never do. Right?
Right.
And so that's another point about as far as the poverty mentality and mindset, as far as having those experiences that's going to enrich our lives.
And the whole thing is, I think the other part of it is just not expressing our BS to our kids.
Right.
Our fears.
Our traumas.
Yeah, it's like when it comes to resource, our pain about money, our fear about it, like, you know, speaking into the affirmative, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want. It's just like anything else. You don't want them, like to the point where we talking about the most tragic of stuff of when we were on the grief episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And y'all was like, your mom told y'all in the most tragic moment when you lost your dad, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we do about money, I know I heard a lot, you know, and shout out to my mom, I love her to death, but and when she struggled, we heard it, you hear it. Like, oh, I don't know. And it's cause they legitimately just worrying, right?
Yeah,
They're
human.
I don't know how I'm gonna pay this. I don't know how and they always did. You know, God, I know God, she always did. And that's another example because God, I know even in my own journey, even when we talk about business, at the time I'm thinking about to shut the doors, a contract comes through. You know, God is always, the universe is always, you know, in the book, The Alchemist. Y'all read The Alchemist?
Oh, yeah.
No, heard about that.
Heard about it.
Read The Alchemist, man. It's a great book about purpose. But he says, he speaks to when you get your mind and your goals set, the universe conspires to bring it into existence for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's other forces at work to bring you that. But you hear what the struggles are, right? And as a child, when you're younger, that's kind of frightful. You know what I'm saying? To hear them struggle, you like, man, are we gonna make it? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you know, so
Man, you know, one thing that's very important, very important. And here's why you don't need to be speaking ill like that about money around your children. Because it will make children go out and start to do stuff they feel like they got to do to take care of the family. And they start, you know, I watched the BMF show, and I always love watching the show because I'm like, man, them dudes grew up in a 2-parent household. You know, God-fearing mom, went to church, all that stuff, mother, father. And I'm like, what was it that made them become these, you know, drug kingpin? And when I watched the show, I realized, I'm like, yo, all they heard about was poverty mindset in the house.
Oh, wow.
And they always felt like they had to go out and get it. Let me go out and help and do this for my family. Let me go out and get that. Now, they was in a house and all that stuff. And I realized that happens to a lot of young people, man. They hearing about, we ain't got this, we ain't got that. Next thing you know, they on the corner selling drugs.
yeah.
You know, because their ambition is now misguided. You know, they feel like, I got to help my mama. I got to put food on the table for my family.
That's real, though.
They 13 talking about putting food on the table. Why are you 13 thinking you got to put food on the table other than what you hear from your parents?
Yeah, and then back to we did the materialism episode. You connect that mentality with materialism, you got a time bomb.
You got
Yeah.
a time bomb.
Absolutely.
I just think about growing up, man. Mom gave us all our essential needs, and of course, just being young, man, you got a ton of wants, right? And so at a very young age, man, I was 12 years old working a real job,
Sabero.
Yeah.
How did you
12.
get a job at Sabero back then?
Pull some strings. Nah, fuck like
That was
that.
illegal,
Nah,
bro.
actually, you didn't need. Actually, you supposed to have a work permit at 13.
Hey, we need to go
But,
talk to. I think it was 14. You get it. Where Nancy Finazzo?
They
Oh,
ain't
that
on
wasn't
Sabero.
Sabero. That was Sal.
Sal.
Was that through Drury Brown?
Yeah,
a
That was in the
child
city.
worker.
He was a child worker.
Hey,
What they
but
call it?
child laborer.
Child labor victim.
but y'all also gotta understand that I had a heck of a mouthpiece on me at the time because I had been scalping
12.
tickets since 7. So I
They
know how to
still
talk.
supposed to look at a Social
You know,
Security card or something.
I know how to talk.
Oh,
So
that's good stuff.
I ended up getting that,
They were
and
paying you
it
to-
allowed me to do things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, just for I know when people look at this show, or the show particularly, they might be saying, "Oh man, they been had it." No, none of us had it like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, we knew that we didn't want to. We wanted to better ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a mindset, And I think that also a part of poverty is that mindset. Who you listening to?
Yeah.
Who's influencing you?
Peace and blessings to all of our businesses who are interested in advertising. We have great affordable rates. And if you'd like to advertise on our B2M Crew podcast, please reach out to us at b2mcrew5@gmail.com.
This is how we get role models, right? I was just talking to some fellas last week, and I asked them if they knew who Robert Smith was. They said no. I asked them if they knew who Don Peebles was. They said no. I asked them if they knew who David Stewart was. They said no. These are two of the richest black people in this country. 3 of the top 10 richest black people in this country.
Robert Smith, he gave that money to Morehouse
Yeah,
grants, right?
David Stewart owns an IT company. Don Peebles is a developer. The most wealthy is black people in this country, and we have 16 and 17-year-old young men that do not know them.
Mm.
But they know Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
But they know Diddy. How is it possible that you know Diddy, but you have no idea who Robert Smith is?
Easy.
How is that possible?
Because
now, it's a reason for that.
I'm saying you relate to music. And
No, but they all relate to money. All of these kids trying to get the bag. All of these
But that
kids.
ain't the question you asked, though. You said, how do you know them? And I'm telling you, how do they know them?
Why do you, but
I hear what you're saying.
okay, let me say this. I didn't ask them, but I bet you they know Bill Gates. I bet you they know him. I bet you they know Warren Buffett.
They probably do.
Right. So why you know Bill Gates, but you don't know Robert Smith?
You know where that
Because-
gap lies?
Because
That
somebody
gap doesn't
told
lie
them.
with them. That gap lies with black adults who don't know these people.
Right. Exactly.
You know
and
what
that's
I'm
why we
saying?
was sitting having this conversation.
Because we consumers.
Because ain't nobody exposed them to these people.
Right.
You
Which
need
is
to be
a great
exposed
point.
to these people
To
so
break
you
that-
can
yeah,
have
break that
a
poverty mindset.
concept and an idea of what you're capable of, and you ain't got to bounce no ball to get it.
And there's no
You ain't
excuse,
gotta rap
there's no
to get it.
excuse right now.
Right.
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 You don't have to rap to get it. You don't have to bounce no ball to get it. These dudes got multiple billions of dollars.
Which is great you exposed them.
And you know what they're not doing? I remember I was talking to Dr. Stafford Brown, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
When he was coming out of med school and he was going to get his placement. And he was talking to me about the amount of money he could make as a physician, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember that time, like, who's telling our children, look, you can go to the NBA and play for 5 years and make you $10 million. Well, first of all, 2% of college athletes play professional sports. 2%.
2%.
That's probably 0.001% of high school athletes that make it to the NBA or something, right? So really pushing that dream with them is you're really crippling them, to be honest. It's really crazy. I'm not saying people can't have a dream, but they need to know those numbers, all right?
Right.
98 of y'all, we line 100 of y'all up, 98 of y'all are not going to make it. And if you had those type of odds with any investment, you would not invest your money or time in it. Unless you're buying a lottery ticket. Right? It's some you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't invest your money in it. You'd be like, no, heck no. Right? There's literally gonna be zero return on your whole investment. All right. Then but when you think about the money, the average, I'm not talking about the players that end up getting a big check. The average professional athlete even making over a career, and a doctor can come out and make $300,000 and $400,000 a year for 40 years. Right?
Right.
I'm talking about some of them making way more than that. And there's some of them through investment. And now I own my own building and my own practice. And I got a partner. And we got a surgery center over here that we run. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The numbers is ridiculous. But nobody's telling them, look, if you hit these books, you can make more than half the rappers out here. Do you understand? Over the time,
longer period of
Shout
time.
out, shout out to Dr. Elamine at Elamine Orthopedics down here in Atlanta, who's a friend of ours.
Right.
That's exactly what he did and got his own practice.
Yeah.
Not far from here. So and kids need to be exposed to people like him.
Right. Or that how easy it is for you to go out here and become an adult, get a business, and make $200,000-$300,000 a year. What type of life that can lead you? What if I would have tell you if you go to school or you get a trade and you get your own business that you could be living in a $600,000 house with a pool and have whatever car you want to drive, and you don't have to go out on the block and sell drugs. You ain't got to tote no gun. That messaging is not out there enough for our young people.
I think
that's why we here.
That's all.
I think one of the good things, one of the good things today is kids are starting to dream big. Right.
Yeah.
I think more so than ever, if I'm not, as far as my recollection.
I agree because of exposure.
Yeah, but the issue with that dreaming big now I'm having, it's like an all or nothing mentality. If I don't have a house and the 5 cars by the time I'm 25 and I'm a millionaire, I'm not making it. It's all a bust. So you can't make $1 million if you can't make $500,000.
But
you got to be able to make 50,000
to
make 75 to make
mindset in order to achieve what you're trying to achieve. You have to have that. But what you have to then tell them to be is you have to be patiently impatient. So if you don't have it all at 25, keep having that mindset, but understand it takes a little longer to get that.
And to reflect on what you was just saying, I spoke to some young cats here recently. And that conversation, to a certain degree, came up, close to the area, And they basically said, in a nutshell, was they like that instant gratification,
right?
They post something and then they constantly looking and seeing if they got the likes, the hits, the numbers, and when they don't get the hits, the likes, the numbers, they feel a certain type of way.
Right.
To Rick, boomerang off what you're saying is they want it now.
What do they get?
I'm just saying anything they associate with fast, quick,
instant gratification.
Right.
We try to teach
it doesn't
delayed
matter
gratification.
whatever it is. They want results like now.
I'm not saying don't want to be a millionaire.
That's what I'm saying. 25-year-old.
You need to be able to make 50,000.
Right.
They make 75 and 100.
Right.
It's just like when people our age, oh man, he just made $1 million. I became an overnight sensation, but it took me 30 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And then some people say, "Oh, that ain't no money."
Right.
Really?
But then you don't have, you don't have 30,000 a year.
Right.
Yeah. And so like
Get
that's
out of
the type
here.
of mindset that we have to get rid of.
It is, and I think one of the things that contribute to, I do like this generation's access to the information.
Right.
Sure,
because we
for
got
sure.
locked out of opportunity because of that.
Yes.
Because it was just locked up in people's offices, and like when you think about the farming issue, right? where they were giving white farmers billions of dollars in grants and stuff over the years, and black farmers just were just getting denied.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even know that there was policies around you end up getting your money, and I think they ended up trying to recover some money under the Biden or Obama administration or something, right? But look, think about this. Think about when we were coming out of high school. Let's talk about the poverty mindset in relationship to how young people are being guided. When we were coming out of school, everybody wanted to major in business management.
That is true.
Or marketing.
Yeah, that is true.
Pretty much, right? And it was a generation before us of parents that worked at the plant for 30 years. They worked at one job. They retired. They tried to become a supervisor at best, right?
Right.
Yeah.
At a factory or some plant. And that was it. That was a good living. I got a retirement check. For us, they did not tell us to go be entrepreneurs. Because I ended up learning as an early adult, somebody said, you can't trade time for money. Because that's all you're doing when you got a job. I'm giving you my time for this set amount of money. They said you can never get wealthy working for someone else. You're working to build their wealth. They didn't press that on us. Now, our generation, I'm going to give credit to hip hop for making us see ourselves as bosses and business owners and leaders, because that, it's almost like the discovery of oil. Hip hop provided avenues for a whole new industry. And then people our age just start saying, hey, I can be a marketing director for hip hop. Like, so people saw entrepreneurship. Like, we saw people owning businesses. If you saw Diddy, you're like, I might not own Bad Boy, but I got me 2 car washes, or I don't know.
Right. A level of influence that they picked up.
And the crack game inspired a lot of entrepreneurship, because there were a lot of dope dealers that ended up setting up laundromats, car washes, washing money, doing all of that, right?
Or parlaying it into Jay-Z's career.
Or
nightclubs,
legitimate business. So, but my point is, our generation started embracing entrepreneurship more, and now this current generation is all over entrepreneurship. I can set my own brand because now I got access to my people and all of that stuff. But the point about that is the poverty mindset of only encouraging people to get a good job. To me, that's a poverty mindset.
What's interesting?
You know what I'm saying? If I just tell you to go get a job,
I totally agree.
I'm just telling you to be victim of poverty.
Hey, bro, I told my kids growing up, if they ever filled out a job application, I was a failure.
Yeah.
I told them that.
Yeah.
I ain't never want you to go fill out no application because I don't want you to ask nobody else for nothing.
Right.
That's your kid.
Although
That's my
it
kids.
wasn't entrepreneurship coming out of high school, I did have a different mentality regarding, I guess education. But when I was working at Foot Locker, I was like, yo, wait a minute. Why would I go to school for 4 years, coming out making maybe at that time you making $25,000 a year? You know what I'm saying? $25,000, $30,000. I was like, and my dude Tor is a manager here at Foot Locker. If I do the management training program for 2 years and make $40,000 coming out of that,
I'm sweet.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, that didn't even make sense to me. Now, though I wish I had, my mom's or whomever to just push me to make sure I stuck to that plan, because then, it would have been, it would have come out to something different. But it was like, yo, that just doesn't even make sense.
Rajesh take your destiny.
No, Rajesh is champs, yo.
Legend.
Shout out to
Legend.
Rajesh.
Yeah. Shout out to Rajesh. He's still one legend.
Yeah, does he seriously?
Yeah.
He the
Man, I would
owner,
love
though.
to go see Rajesh,
Yeah,
man.
that's
He
all
owned
right.
it, though.
Yeah, he own it now. He
Look at
own
that.
it.
Look
Man, I
at
remember when
Rajesh.
Rajesh, literally
We
came
was in
here.
high school.
Yeah, no,
I mean, you mean
knew
when he
him
got to
from-
the country.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And like Rajesh owns it
Rajesh
now.
had a jump shot too, didn't
Oh,
Yeah,
Rajesh
of
used to
course.
play ball with us
Yeah.
over Mount Hill.
Yeah.
He kept a chain on, too.
Oh, yeah.
Rajesh was our homie, man.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah,
Rajesh.
man. He still running, man. He owns it.
Man, the
And
next
runs
time I go, I'm going over there just to see Rajesh.
Yeah. He doing
But
it.
yeah,
Going
to your point,
to what
James.
you were saying though, you talking about not getting a job, you talking about working for someone that's building someone else. Well, we have to teach our children, get a skill set, have a
Yeah,
skill.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah, whatever it may be, because when you have your own certain set of skills, even if you have to temporarily get a job, you're always gonna be marketable. until you can be able to do your own thing. You know what I mean? But if you
Absolutely.
don't have a skill set and you are being able to just plug in, or like you say, certain, there's nothing wrong with, I guess, what people call unskilled labor, right? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get where you want to go.
Right.
But always make sure you have a skill set. And sometimes you get frustrated with the business of college, right? Because normally I know in Virginia, in-state public college is at least 100,000. That's the bed. That's the beginning point. So, and I know I took my son to a visit to a school, and they had went to the business school, and they had like a major of insurance, real estate, etc. And I'm like, man, I had my real estate license and insurance licensing without spending 100,000
Right.
school,
Right.
you know. And so getting that, again, a trade, the degree, there's different ways of getting that degree, but make sure you get something that's specialized and no one can take from you. Learn a skill set.
Right.
And make a decision. Pick one. And if you pick one and you're in it, and after 3 years, you're like, man, this is not for me, we'll pick another one. And so,
except on that degree track, I don't agree with that. It relates to a degree. Like you in school 3 years and you want to change your major.
oh, right.
Okay,
Now I understand
okay,
that,
yeah.
but like again, a kid that graduated with my son, he didn't want to go to college. He wanted to be an electrician, right?
Right.
He was getting paid 5 years ago $20 an hour to learn his trade. So now he's probably getting paid $45 an hour. 22, 23 years old, no student debt, and he's learning his trade. He's with the union, and he can stay with the union if he so chooses to be. But if they fire him, he always has his trade, you know,
Right.
or he can start his own business.
And see, that's what I want to get him to. My
Right.
son has a friend
Right.
right now. Y'all know Warren, man, that with
Yeah.
the Grambling. One of his
Yeah,
sons got into the plumbing apprenticeship up there, right?
Yeah.
It's like a 5-year program.
Oh wow.
Like you go in, you taking classes, then you go on the job, and it's under the union, right? And he's gonna end up with a union job. He works now, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, I mean, he's bought a townhouse, probably making like 60, 70,000 right now. But when you're done, you can make 6 figures. But my point is, he has all the certifications, all the trainings, and I'm like, just go get the equipment. Everybody needs a place. They don't want to be entrepreneurs, and so
Right.
I get it. Like that's a poverty mindset. He got a good union job.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Do you
dream.
understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's safe.
Yep.
And so you don't get to be the plumber that got 12 trucks. You just got a union job.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
right.
Because you
Right.
were just comfortable with. I just
But
I
let
just
me
want
say
us to
this.
know we
Let me
can-
say this.
Go ahead.
Other day I was on a call with hundreds of entrepreneurs.
Uh-huh.
You know, several millionaires was on the call, and the millionaires on the call was really just like not really downplaying working a regular job, but they were promoting entrepreneurship. And one young lady on the call, you know, was like, you know, raised her hand amongst the call. It was like, I love my job. Like, how you gonna consider it poverty mindset and they love or they feel that that's what they do?
Right.
What would we
Right.
say to that?
Well, what I would say to that
I'll
is,
say,
no, go ahead, Joaquin.
I'm gonna say anybody you give permission to feed you, you give permission to starve you. So that job you love so much, you need to learn how to. Whoever you working for, you need to learn how to do that job for yourself, so that you don't fire you.
That's what I was
I-
saying.
They may
I
You
take
don't
that
understand.
away
love-
from that.
You don't love the company. You love the work. You can do the work under you.
Right.
This
Do
is
the
what
work
I'm
under
saying
you.
though. All right, how about this? Now you probably gonna call it a poverty mindset. Can everybody be a millionaire?
No,
You don't have to be
Oh,
a
okay.
millionaire to set
Well,
the bar.
No,
or
I'm not.
whatever.
So
right.
my point is, if he chooses a trade and he making 6 figures, and guess what he can do with that 6 figures? Buy a nice house, have a nice
I'm
car.
not hating on that.
Yeah, he
We-
can't.
we ain't
Hey,
on
if,
that.
if
I'm
the
just
car,
promoting
no,
beyond
well,
that. I'm just
yeah, yeah.
promoting more.
What you
of
gonna do
So-
when they fire you with your 6 figures?
what I'm not, because he has a trade.
So here's what I encourage people to do. Get your trade, but there's a difference between getting a trade and learning business. Let's just say I wash windows for a living. I could be excellent at washing windows. I know when it's oxidation in the windows, what to do. I know how to, flip the windows in. I can be great at washing windows. But how good am I at running a business? There's 2 separate things.
It is.
Right,
All right,
exactly.
they're 2 separate things. So I encourage people, get your trade, but also learn how to run a business. and do your trade for yourself. If you're not working on your dream and your business, you working on somebody else's dream. And so that's what I'm encouraging people to do.
I agree.
Because you don't give people power over you. I got to ask you, can I go see my mama when she's sick? I got to ask you, can I go on vacation with my family? No, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. So you giving people control over your life. You know, when you do that kind of stuff.
Freedom
bro.
is control over your time.
Right, that's true. Control of time. Listen, even when you work for yourself, you're still dependent on other people to buy your product.
But I don't gotta ask you to go see my mama.
John,
right.
That's a good point, but that's not more powerful than the idea of being independent working for yourself.
But your time is
But let me say it like this: I think this might make you feel more comfortable about us pushing this thing, right?
Nah,
I mean,
I'm
what I
okay
mean
with
is-
it, but
no,
I'm saying I
let me
got
say
a
that.
problem looking down on somebody who
Who-
can
whoa,
make
That's
we
what
not
I'm
looking
saying.
down.
That's
what
why
I'm
I
saying.
Looking
said.
down.
That's
That's
making a
why I
six-figure
said that because
trade.
nobody said looking down.
We're not
That's
looking
why I'm gonna
down.
make this statement. I got you. What we are saying is, I recognize that not everyone is an entrepreneur. Not everyone has entrepreneurship
Correct.
aspirations. Not everyone has entrepreneurship skills. What I think Waki and Talik may also, and Jane may agree with me also is, we want to limit the number of people that don't go in that direction because of the mindset of a poverty mindset, or them believing they can't do it and opting for their security. We want as many people with the skill to take advantage of that,
Right,
and not have
know
the
that
fear.
you can do
For
this.
those that just
Yeah.
adamant they want to be working for somebody, okay.
Let me.
But listen.
So that's what you're saying to Talik's caller? Okay.
Yeah,
If they have a
no,
passion-
we all
I say
need
to her-
workers.
I
We
say to her
need
is-
workers in the world.
I say to her is, do you like the job? Do you like the work that you do, or do you like the company so much that you don't want to leave?
Right.
And are you afraid to challenge yourself to build it for yourself? If she says, I just don't want to deal with all that just because I just don't want to deal with it, enjoy your trade.
It is what it is.
So again, let me ask you a question: is do you think there are more broke entrepreneurs out there or broke electricians?
For me, it's not about money because every entrepreneur know they're gonna be broke plenty.
Okay.
Every entrepreneur. But here's what I'll tell you: an entrepreneur would rather make $40,000 for himself than $80,000 working for you. That's what an entrepreneur would rather
I think
do.
that the fine line that JG that I think you're misunderstanding, because I see the point you're making of having a trade is because you're in some sense an entrepreneur, because you have a trade and certified in doing something that you can somewhat control.
Right.
So I think that's what's missing
even if
in
that
the conversation that we're having.
Job, if they lose their job, they can start their own business. You can become
Right.
work for yourself.
He has options.
Exactly. You have options.
And
be
that's what I'm-
entrepreneur.
Why would they get a skill to go work and give that skill to someone else that is making quadruple off of them than they would if they had their own
It's
business?
just like anything
those are
else.
the ones
It's a
that you have to
mentorship.
change.
It's a time to learn this and then fly out on your own. You have somebody
Most
else
of them
train
don't
you.
do that. To your
Well,
point, most of
yeah.
them don't do that.
Yeah.
Most of them don't do that. They 55 years old and still doing
Oh,
the
yeah.
same thing that they were doing when they came in.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm just looking at it as the ability to take care of your family, to own a home, to own a vehicle without stressing out. You know what I mean?
How
And
you
being able
gonna
to take care
stay?
of
Now let me tell you something.
It ain't no. See,
Let me tell you something.
That's
When you
the
say lack
fallacy.
of stress,
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, the young man I was talking about dealing
Well,
with
at least
some
a little
racist folks
stress.
in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
union.
yeah.
Oh, you
And-
always
and-
got
Oh.
stressed because you thinking somebody gonna fire you, get rid of you.
Yeah.
How hard?
Ain't no such thing as security.
Yeah.
Right.
It ain't no
It's
such
picking
thing.
what type of stress you
And
gonna
even
deal
when
with.
you're
for
an
real.
entrepreneur,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
every entrepreneur that went through broke and then started multiple businesses. That's what you do.
It's the same energy. You just challenging it either here or here. You still got to deal with it.
You gotta pick
Period.
what type of stress
Point
you gonna
blank.
deal with,
I
yeah.
do
And
wanna-
whether you got somebody
Hey,
dictating
look.
your moves or you dictating your own moves,
And then when you say that, Corey,
same thing.
what happened? That's whole nother conversation as far as integration, ruining our entrepreneurship. You know what I mean?
It
What
did.
happened to our businesses? You know, and the mentality where
We
don't
fell
deserve
victim
that.
of what Eldridge Cleaver said in Soul on Ice. Is we thought the white man's ice was colder. So we started going to work for them.
It was cold.
Shopping with
No,
them.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like,
But
yeah,
but
boy,
I do
sound-
want to go on the record to
Had to
say
be foolish.
I value
Yeah.
trades, and I also include now, which people don't talk about, is technology is a trade.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yes.
You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? You can go get a degree in computer engineering, but cybersecurity is a
a trade.
trade.
I
Hey,
think
bro.
when we talked about that not too long ago,
Yeah, I just said being
was
a
talking about-
doctor, being an engineer,
that's
it's a trade.
Yeah,
It's a high level
it is,
trade.
it is, it is.
white
But it's
collar
still a
trade.
trade.
We're calling
Yeah.
it white collar trade.
I'm specifically focused on people that have a trade and don't explore building wealth because they have a fear that they can't do it.
Right.
That's what I look down on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I look down on.
Yeah.
You know, don't be afraid, because that very security that you think you have with that job, you really don't have it.
Let's say this.
And just
Don't
like an
look down on
entrepreneur, you got contracts and all that stuff. You can lose your biggest contract and go bankrupt. You can, you know what I mean? That come with it. Just like you can get fired and be broke. You know, like that come with it. But are you gonna build it for yourself, or are you building it for somebody else?
Hey, let me ask you this: being an entrepreneur, is that a skill set?
Absolutely.
There's entrepreneurs
That's
that
why I
don't
made
have
the
no.
point. That's
yeah,
why I
don't know
made
how
the
to build
point.
nothing.
That's
Their
why I
own
made the
business.
point
Yeah.
about windows and,
Right.
and running a business. You can be great at window, but you don't know nothing about running a business.
Shout
You
out
know?
to Hampton University. My son is an entrepreneurship graduate
Wow.
from Hampton.
And I had never even
Major
heard of
in
that major
entrepreneurship.
until then.
Wow.
Yeah.
HU.
But there are a lot
That's
of
what's
companies that say now that they would rather hire someone with an entrepreneurial background than someone that just follows the routine, because you need innovation in your business.
And
You
risk
need people
taking.
with ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey man, this is a little bit. It's on the topic, but you know, man, I love my family dearly. Didn't grow up with a whole lot of money, but I always, you know,
Rich in
never
other
went
areas.
Exactly.
Rich in
exactly.
everything but money.
Yeah. Man, one time, man, we had a pipe burst. What happened from time to time? And but you know, pipe burst, and so we just stopped using that bathroom.
Yeah.
Just use the other one, right?
But that don't sound like poverty if you got another bathroom.
Right. But then next thing you know, now I'm a teenager and I'm starting to work. And I was young. I was still living at home, but I was working. And so I had a buddy of mine, man, just getting buckets and flushing the toilet that way, man, hating that stuff. And my man I was working with, he was a plumber, but he had a part-time gig. I said, man, come help me fix this thing. You know what I mean? So we came down there and fixed it. I got it done.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Youngest person in the household. Got it done. Everything's working
Were
properly.
you about 20?
Yeah.
Right.
Probably should have been in college, but
Right.
left school.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So fast forward, I was talking to my man the other day. We still stay in touch. He's a plumber, been a plumber for 30 years. And we was talking about all that stuff. I like, man, you don't believe how, like, when I get it's weird, but it's part of my trauma. When I flush that toilet and that thing goes down, I'm so grateful. Thankful. Real talk.
Thankful and
Yeah.
grateful.
Hey, when I'm in the tub and taking a shower and the water don't come around my ankles, I'm thankful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't
Yeah.
forget that.
Right.
And so we were having that conversation, and I didn't realize, and this cat is like 55. He said, Yates, I grew up in a house with no plumbing. I'm like, what? He said, well, none. You know, and I remember our great-grandparents finally got a bathroom. You know, I was real small. But like he said, until he graduated high school. And he graduated high school probably in the late 80s.
Yeah,
You know what I
89, 88.
Yeah, so he had no plumbing, bro.
That's
And now
my
he's
point.
he's a plumber, 30 years.
Yeah.
Now he's making money, but he loves helping other people too. With little stuff like that, what makes a big difference in someone's life.
To
And that probably
piggyback
was stemmed
off of
off
that
of
point, you know,
poverty.
I'm president of AHIP, which is a nonprofit organization that goes in and puts in plumbing to people's homes. There are people in our county right now that do not have plumbing.
What?
Wow.
Right now.
I was born
Right
into a
now.
house with no plumbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now there are people that's
Yeah.
still dealing with that. They have no plumbing.
What do
So-
they have? An
so
outhouse? A
Yeah.
hole in the
Yeah,
ground?
it's
So
an
still-
outhouse. You
so
gotta go
you had
outside.
So
two
we deal with that
bathrooms.
now.
For what?
It's
Right.
2023.
That was a level of bougie
Though, hey,
compared to
that's
somebody
like complaining
with
about not having no shoes to the man that had no feet,
Right.
right?
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so, like I said, it affected
Well, if
him
he
so
had
much
no
where he
feet, he
became
ain't
a
need no
plumber.
shoes.
He-
Nah,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, I
Nah,
know.
that's
Well,
good.
he became a plumber.
Nah, right.
And he has
And-
worked for a company, worked for himself. He's been back and forth with his entrepreneurial goals.
You know what's interesting though, when we talk about all these people with I'm back to the fear about entrepreneurship and back to Waukee saying, go get your plumbing and then go to community college and take some business classes or something too, right?
Yeah.
Just
Business,
half of
accounting.
the shit is they don't know how to set the business up.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know why I say that? You know why I say that? Because all of these people you talking about, the certified, they work for somebody else, they doing side jobs on the weekend and the evening.
Right. Exactly.
That could be turned
Spot
into
on.
more formalized contracts and expanding their businesses.
Yes.
But they don't, that part of, I don't know how to do that.
Bro, I
This-
talked about
or
this
security.
yesterday. I talked about this yesterday. John, don't forget your point. When I talked about me just personally helping people set up their businesses. And I've done it so many times for free for people because they want to do a business, but they literally don't know how to do the paperwork and get it all set up. And it's crazy now too, because I see some of those businesses flourishing.
Yeah.
You know, I see them flourishing, and I'm like, oh man, that's awesome.
been a business.
But when you talk about the universe conspiring to make it happen for you, when you put it out there that's what you want to do, all of a sudden you bump into somebody
That
like
can help-
myself,
Yeah.
who can help you with that last hurdle
Right.
to end up, allowing you
Overflowing.
exactly
Because
do
we
your
know
business.
we need that man that can handle that wrench if we
Absolutely.
can't fix that plumbing.
What's
You
your
know what I
last?
mean?
Did you have
I
another?
was saying this is no different than what I'm telling my son who just graduated high school about his village. Surround yourself with sharp people, right? And in the high school world, the academia world, as far as passing, I would say, hey, listen, if you're good at math, you struggle in English, you hang with that student that's that A student in English. Same thing would be with science, would be econ, whatever class that you're taking. Surround yourself with people and be confident enough to go get help, basically.
Right.
And be gracious enough to give help in the areas where you're strong.
Right.
And so the same thing would apply with the cat that can work with his hands and it's phenomenal. You can't look down on him because he don't have that business sense no more than he can look down on you because you can't hammer a nail in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So whoever, if you have that physical trade, get with that person with that
Yeah.
business mindset to help you set
That's
up the
why
business.
this dude that does work on my
Yeah.
cars, every time I take breaks to him, man, I've been doing your brakes for 12 years at my house and you still don't know how to do no brakes. You be talking about them.
Yeah, exactly.
I be wanting to say, you can't write no essay, man. So, like,
Hey man, that's
you
a
know,
load of belt,
I
man.
got some skills too.
Exactly.
That's resourceful, that give me some money, you know.
Exactly.
But listen, I think this is a good conversation. B2M Crew chopping it up about the poverty mindset. Is sort of morphed into a discussion about business and ambition as it relates to that. But on terms of the poverty mindset, I think you heard us talking about be careful about the messaging that you give your children about money, no matter how many resources you got.
Right.
And make them think that it's attainable for them and that it's abundance out there for them versus scarcity. You got something you want to
Yeah,
chime in?
talking about the
Go ahead.
resources. I was gonna say, if you're looking and you're searching and you're trying to find somewhere to turn, I would say check out EYL University and the Earn Your Leisure Crew. Check out Secrets to Success. Check out Jamal King. Check out Wall Street Trapper. Check out the Social Proof Podcast. Check out these resources because that can start to give you some direction in terms of what you may want to do. EYL University is an amazing organization that teach financial literacy, and it is absolutely changing people's lives. And so I point to those resources for people. If you don't know where to start, go there today, right now.
Hey, it's
Check
the
the
B2M
podcast
Crew
out.
I got one more
podcast.
question
Go
for
ahead.
one more quick question for the crew.
Hey, whoa. Question. No,
Hey, no, just like what advice would we give to single moms or single young couples, right, who work every day? Some people may have had a hiccup in life, right? You may have had a child at a young age or what have you. But if you're grinding and working every day, to not have, I do want to give you that 50 cents for this. What message would you give to them to say, hey, listen, I know you're trying, I know you're hustling, I know you're struggling, but and you're trying to do better, but not to pass that burden on to their children.
I'm gonna say, listen, if we all heard the definition of insanity, you're gonna have to do something different, or you're gonna keep getting what you've been getting. And those resources that I just talked about, turn to them right now. Turn it as soon as this podcast go off. Go to those resources right now that I just mentioned, and start to change your mind. Start to change that mindset that we've been talking about. When you go to those resources, that's the beginning of changing that mindset. When you read, go get that book, Think and Grow Rich. You want to change your mindset, you get that book and start reading. This is how you fix this. This is how you fix it. I don't know no other way to fix it.
And tap into the B2M
Right.
Crew.
Rich.
Subscribe
Oh,
to yeah.
Subscribe.
That's right.
Yeah, this is how you fix this.
Look,
Yeah.
prioritize the resources that you do have so that you eliminate waste, right? And you can do some of the more things like give your child ride the duck money. And then,
So let's say
even while you're struggling,
Ride the duck money.
have a plan of action that you interact from getting all those resources.
That's the name of the
But
podcast.
speak positivity about your situation as it relates to money.
So let's say the J's.
It's gonna be
Can I
okay.
get them J's, mama? Can I get them?
You know, one day you are gonna be
Yeah,
able
let me
get
show
'em.
you
We
how to
can't-
get them.
We can't get them right now, or let me show you how to
Let me
get
show
them.
you
We
how to
can't
get
get them
'em.
right now, but you will.
Yeah, right. Don't tell them I ain't had no duck money. That's the name of this podcast.
What's that?
Duck money.
Duck
Duck
money.
money.
Duck money.
Ride the duck money. This the B2M Crew, chopping it up again about poverty mindset, ambition, and entrepreneurship. Five brothers that have been friends for over 40 years, bringing you into our conversation. We're being broadcasted from Wynn Studios in Fayetteville, Georgia, multimedia production company in the Atlanta metro area. Check them out. What's the number to the
Win
shop, bro?
Productions
Yeah.
Studio, 754-225-2805. 754-225-2805.
And check us out on YouTube, all over social media. Subscribe,
That's
like,
right.
share, do all of that. Joaquin, take us out of here with a message, bro.
In the words of the great Frederick Douglass, it is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men.
Hey,
Peace.
think big, one step at a time.
That's right.
And I won't stop until I'm winning. I'ma show 'em how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I'm finished with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute. And I won't stop until I'm winning. They don't want me in the office cause I tell